Hello, you're watching TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. The government support fund for Wang Fuk Court in Taipo has accumulated $3.8 billion. Authorities announced their plan to assist affected residents by granting them a one-time relocation grant of $50,000, as well as an annual rental subsidy of $150,000. The rental subsidy will remain in effect for 2 years. Timothy Lee tells us more.
The government made its latest announcements on relief funds for victims of the Wang Fuk Court fire this afternoon, with distribution set to begin next Monday. A one-time relocation allowance of $50,000 and an annual rental subsidy of $150,000 will be provided, which is set to remain in effect for 2 years. The funds are to be distributed every half a year and will be managed by the Social Welfare Department. Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration, Warner Chuk, noted that many affected residents are primarily concerned with rental subsidies, adding that the government agrees with them and believes the monetary solution to be the most practical. This as the government reminded that affected property owners who wish to continue residing in transitional housing must pay the rent for such units after receiving their subsidies. Chuk stressed the monthly rent of around $12,500 is similar to that of Wang Fuk Court, emphasizing that the $150,000 subsidy is a suitable arrangement. Meanwhile, authorities reminded that affected residents will not be eligible for the $50,000 relocation allowance if they depart from their transitional housing units after May 31st next year. Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs Alice Mack said the allowance will be the government's last monetary grant from the Taipo Fund assisting Wang Fuk Court tenants, as authorities are prioritizing the long-term needs of affected property owners. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
A mainland man has been arrested on suspicion of being connected to the robbery of a currency exchange shop in Central involving some 1 billion yen, which is around 50 million Hong Kong dollars. Sources say some of the stolen cash has been recovered. The incident took place on Queens Road Central at around 9 a.m. The case was reported by 2 staff members of the shop who said 3 men armed with knives robbed the establishment of 1 billion yen before fleeing towards Bottom Strand in a silver 7-seater vehicle. Police officers found the suspected vehicle on Jarvis Street. Sources said authorities found a man carrying a suitcase containing large amounts of Japanese yen in Sheungwan MTR station before arresting him on suspicion of being connected to the case. Mourners gathered in grief at the funeral of 10-year-old Matilda, the youngest victim of the Bondi Beach mass shooting in Australia. She was one of 15 killed. David Garrett reports.
Life slowly moves on at Sydney's Bondi Beach, where 15 people were shot dead on Sunday. The surrounding park reopened after a mass shooting at a Jewish Hanukkah event. One survivor, released from hospital, recently returned to Australia from Israel.
My elder daughter, who's 8, she asked me, Abba, Daddy, does that mean no more boomies? Meaning no more rockets, no more sirens, no more running to bomb shelter. And I said, no, sweetie, no more boomies. You're safe. This is Australia. I was wrong. Very, very wrong.
The survivor drawn back to the site where he nearly died. Floral tributes laid out for the dead, with one person still in a critical condition. As doctors say, it was a miracle more were not killed. A funeral for a 10-year-old nicknamed the Little Bee. The youngest victim, Matilda, her family, who've asked not to be named, carried her coffin.
I have a 10-year-old granddaughter, and when I see Matilda, I see my own Ori granddaughter. I'm speechless.
Mourners also attended the funeral for the oldest victim, 87-year-old Alex Clateman. A 24-year-old faces 15 murder charges and terrorism charges. Naveed Akram and his father, who was shot dead by police, are said by investigators to have been inspired by Islamic State. As Australia grapples with anti-Semitism and racism, the Prime Minister setting out hate speech reforms.
I am announcing a significant number of additional actions to build on the plan. Firstly, the Attorney-General and Minister for Home Affairs will develop a package of legislative reforms to crack down on those who spread hate, division and radicalisation.
Changes include making it illegal to preach or promote violence. Organisations could be banned and visas revoked as the country comes to terms with its worst shooting this century. After criticism for not clamping down earlier, the Prime Minister admitted the government could have done more. Albanese says it's now his responsibility to heal and unite Australia. David Garrett, TVB News.
Israel has landed what their prime minister says is their largest ever gas deal, exporting to Egypt over the next 15 years. Benjamin Netanyahu announcing details from his ministerial office, saying the partnership will net Israel $35 billion and it greatly strengthens our position as a regional energy power. U.S. company Chevron will help to deliver the natural gas. The agreement could help repair relations with neighbors Egypt that became strained during the Gaza war. Egypt were mediators between Israel and Hamas and a key component in bringing about a ceasefire. Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump has used a pre-holiday address from the White House to portray his first year in office as a success story, even as Americans worry about the economy and Republicans face tough midterm elections in 2026. The White House had also hinted that Trump might tease about new policy, but he offered little of his forthcoming plans. Tracy Furness has more.
Rather than giving his pre-holiday address from the Oval Office, President Trump chose a festive backdrop of green garland in the diplomatic reception room of the White House, a cheerful setting for his cheery account of progress under his watch as president so far. But Trump's glowing account was out of tune with the experience of price-squeezed Americans and the government's own statistics. But he didn't blame himself for the mess. He blamed Biden.
Good evening, America. 11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it. When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans.
The claim that the Biden era gave the country's worst inflation ever was not true, nor his claim that prices are now falling rapidly, which has not been seen in inflation numbers. They are about where they were when Trump took office. On border issues, Trump also blamed Biden.
Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East.
Though White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt had told reporters Trump might tease new policy in his speech, the president offered little hint of his forthcoming plans. Other than promising new housing policies next year and naming a new Federal Reserve chair, his speech largely reflected a greatest hits version of his political rallies. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
The first batch of Guangdong vehicles will enter Hong Kong's urban areas from midnight next Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Transport Department launched a page on the Hong Kong e-mobility app where drivers can find information about parking spaces, EV charging facilities, and attractions. Samantha Lee reports.
Starting December 23rd, approved vehicles from Guangdong will be able to be driven to the city's urban areas. More than 700 drivers have applied for the scheme. The Transport Department would soon issue electronic permits to successful applicants. Before heading to Hong Kong, Guangdong motorists have to go through vehicle inspection, obtain third-party risk insurance, activate the HKE toll system, and install Hong Kong license plate starting with FT. To help southbound drivers plan their trip, the authorities updated the HKE mobility website and mobile app. The new feature is designed to assist them locate Hong Kong's tourist spots, hotels, car parks, and EV charging stations. However, some information may be inaccurate. A car park in Tin Hau was set to have GBT charging facilities, or commonly known as the national standards. But TVB News found only European standard ones were available there.
Apps 啱啱推出嚟，可能都係要有個細緻啲去 check。
Tourism sector lawmaker Liu Pat-learn said the government should carefully examine any discrepancies in the information provided on a new function. He also pointed out that drivers could find affordable charging adapters online. Guangdong drivers must abide by Hong Kong laws. Apart from being charged under Hong Kong laws, those violating traffic rules will be reported by Hong Kong Transport Department to relevant mainland authorities. Serious offenders may face permit cancellation. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee said Hong Kong is going forward as Asia's first aircraft recycling hub. This came after the city opened its Aircraft Engineering Training Center. Mimo Singhai reports.
Stepping inside this dismantled section of an Airbus A319 aircraft, one can probably name many cabin facilities that they see when taking a flight. From the cabin crew storage area to the cockpit, the aircraft cabin was delivered from Chengdu in Sichuan for teaching students of the Aircraft Engineering Training Center. On Thursday, an opening ceremony for the training center was held. The event also marks the collaboration between the airport authorities, Hong Kong International Aviation Academy, and Elior Group SA, a French aeronautical services company, as the two parties exchanged partnership agreements to set up the center. Chief Executive John Lee and Secretary for Transport and Logistics Mabel Chan were among the guests who witnessed the occasion. In his speech, the CE said that such a collaboration symbolizes a new chapter in Hong Kong's aviation development.
Today marks a major step forward in Hong Kong's determination to rise as Asia's first aircraft recycling and parts trading center. We have what we need to build a flourishing regional service supply chain, one that captures the full aviation life cycle.
The Aviation Academy said the first training program, the Cabin Integrated course, will start early next year, and the authorities aim to recruit 300 local students before expanding the number to 1,000 after 2 years.
If Hong Kong can have this recycling activities, that will help a lot of other business that include probably the insurance, finance, and also pilot training of personnel. So I mean, it actually elevate all the whole ecosystem.
The training center says recruitment for the cabin integrated course is ongoing, with most of the applicants being existing aircraft maintenance mechanics. Memos 9, TVB News.
A number of Jiao festivals are held throughout the New Territories this year. One such festival in Kam Tin made it into the Guinness Book of Records as it has the world's largest temporary bamboo altar. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Measuring over 42,000 square feet and standing about 30 meters tall, the Jiao Festival Pavilion, located in Kam Tin's Shui Tao Chun, was constructed using some 30,000 sticks of bamboo. Completed in 2 months' time, the structure was confirmed by the Guinness Book of Records as the world's largest temporary bamboo altar, with its exterior surrounded by well over 100 flower plaques. The spectacle, rooted in tradition, attracted scores of locals and tourists alike. This man said it was his first time witnessing a bamboo structure of this scale, stressing that it's a tradition that must be preserved. Dating back to 1685, the Kam Tin Taiping Tsingjiao Festival was first organized by local villagers as a gesture of gratitude towards two Qing dynasty officials. The Thanksgiving ritual in Kam Tin is also the oldest of its kind in Hong Kong. The gala includes events such as puppet shows, parades, as well as religious ceremonies, with over 1,000 local residents partaking in an incense ritual. But with the community being increasingly concerned with bamboo safety in recent days, a local leader said he hopes the tradition could be kept alive. Tang Ho-nin, chairman of the Kam Tin Rural Committee, emphasized the material is not easily flammable, adding that they prioritize fire safety during the pavilion's construction. Meanwhile, another once-a-decade Taiping Qingjiao Festival will be held for 5 days at Shatin's Ngape Sha Street Playground starting this Saturday. The festival, steeped in Taoist beliefs, is a large-scale communal event during which participants would give thanks to folk deities. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.